Hey, happy Tuesday. Happy book review day. Today's book is a short one, but I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not. Unfortunately, it's only released in either Audible format or ebook format. And anyway, the book is The Answer is No by Fredrik Backman. And Fredrik Backman is my favorite living author. I mean, I have lots of favorites, but if push come to shove, this is the guy that I would choose. He's a Swedish author, so his things are in translation in English. So I've read all the things that have been translated, and I try to keep up. He's got a new book coming out next year called My Friends, and as far as I'm concerned, this guy can do no wrong. He's a quirky, funny guy who talks openly about his anxiety and depression, and I don't know. I appreciate that vulnerability. So as a person, I think he's super interesting. As a writer, I really enjoy his stories because his characters imbibe those things. If you were to ask what his books are about, they're almost exclusively about people dealing with anxieties and often the mundane aspects of life. But they're like put in kind of a pressure cooker situation. So my very favorite book of his is Anxious People, and it is about a bunch of people with anxieties who are in an open house for an apartment, and it becomes a hostage situation, and so they're all kind of stuck there against their will. And it's a hilarious book, but it's like moving, and the characters express like vulnerability, and I mean that's the kind of stuff I love in books. And he has a series of books called well, it's a trilogy, a hockey trilogy that starts with Beartown, ends with The Winners. I can't remember the middle, Us and Them, maybe. And that one's wonderful as well. I mean, those are much bigger books. And even though they're about hockey, they really are about coming of age and about, just trying to fit in and figuring out who's who and how to become an adult, I guess, also. He has other books, like there's one about advice to his son, which is probably my second favorite of his. And then this one just came out. The answer is no, and the answer is no is it's probably the closest that you're going to get to a Franz Kafka kind of story, um, which I also love. And those are some people do not love Kafka because I mean his stories are kind of troubling and weird at times. The most famous one, obviously, is the Metamorphosis, where Gregor Samsa wakes up and has been transformed into a beetle of some kind. But there's also, um, God, there's like the penal colony, and there's so many, and not to mention the castle, and just so many interesting stories that come out of Franz Kafka. And at the heart of those stories is often the absurdity of life, but also bureaucracy and how ridiculous that can be. And this story, the answer is no, is essentially about ridiculous bureaucracy. And there are so many wonderful moments through it. The basic plot is there's a guy, he lives in an apartment, he likes to be alone, and the world keeps intruding on him. And he struggles to say no, even though that's what instinctively he wants to do. And by not saying no, it actually kind of works to open him up to the community a little bit more. But the ridiculous situation is initially his world is shaken because somebody, the board of like the apartment complex, shows up on his door and wants to know whether or not the frying pan on the ground outside is his. They're trying to find out who threw this frying pan away. And they didn't put it in the trash, they left it on the sidewalk. And his immediate response is, can't I just pick it up and you'll go away? And they're like, no, we need to find out who. And so, the message is it's not about fixing the problem, it's about punishing who did the wrong. And that resonates throughout the story. So it's not real long. I think on Audible it was an hour to listen to. I don't know how long it would be an ebook, um, but it's a wonderful little story. And as somebody who just loves his writing, I'll take whatever he gives me. So I would definitely recommend The Answer is No by Fredrik Backman. What are you reading?